us off with our right to know checklist. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. Let's see. All right. As chair of the Hopkinton Select Board, due to COVID-19/coronavirus crisis and in accordance with the governor's emergency order 12 pursuant to executive order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Note there's no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. In accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm we're doing the following. A, we're providing public access to the meeting by phone with additional access by video. We're using Zoom. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through Zoom if the public has access, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen. And if necessary, participate in the meeting through dialing 646-558-8656 and or clicking a website we have provided. B, we are providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using Zoom. Instructions are on the Town of Hopkinton's website and the town's Facebook page. We're providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has problems, call 603-746-8242 or email townadmin@hopkinton-newhampshire.gov. And finally, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access. In the event the public cannot access the meeting, we'll adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled. Helpful things to know, the meeting's being recorded and will be available to watch at a later time. The link will be on the town website. The select board's unmuted. All others, if anyone is on, will be muted. They can use the chat feature or will go off of mute during public forum. All votes will be taken by roll call vote. So we'll start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. Also, please state if there's anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Okay, attendance, Sabrina Dunlap here, and I'm alone in my office. I'll just go across who's on my screen. So Jeff.
Jeff Donahoe here alone.
And Anna.
Anna Wells, I am also alone.
Stephen.
Stephen Whitley alone.
And Ken.
I'm here and alone.
All right. Have to find the agenda. I guess we have points of pride now. Yes, points of pride.
Sure. I have two things to note. I just wanted to note Marilyn Breshaw, who is all of a sudden having extra clients and also helping to coordinate at the food pantry, which is also seeing an increase in clients and a little bit of difficulty actually getting food because of the situation. And I'd also like to highlight really the people who have stepped up to volunteer. They've stepped up. We put the word out this week that they were short on some supplies and people volunteer, and Hopkinton Helps. We've had 40 volunteers and people have stepped up as they've been asked to be on committees. So I'd highlight them also.
Excellent. Anyone else have anything for points of pride?
Sure. At the risk of embarrassing Stephen, I'd like to acknowledge that Becky and Bonnie are heading up the Earth Day cleanup in town. It's good to have something that seems almost normal at this point in time. The other thing, I guess, if Jeff doesn't want to, I'd like to just thank the Dimitris again for all they're doing and the volunteers that are delivering meals to seniors from there.
Mm-hmm.
Not embarrassed. Thanks, Ken.
Pass it on to Becky.
So embarrassing. All right. If there's nothing else, then we can move on to administrative. First up is approval of the consent agenda.
Sure. I'll move we approve the consent agenda of April 20, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I'm going to go down on the order of my screen. So Sabrina, yes. Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen.
Yes.
I can't see Anna or Ken for some reason. So Anna
Yes.
and
And
Ken.
Ken, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so next up is approval of the public meeting minutes of April 6th, 20. Wait, that's
And
not right.
somebody come in and sign before we move to the next, just so we don't forget that.
I'm
Oh,
happy to do it.
So moved.
wait, do we have to vote on that? We don't, right?
We should.
We do on Jeff signing?
Yeah.
Okay, so Stephen moved, I'll second that. So vote Sabrina, yes. Who's that next? Jeff,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
and Ken.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, Jeff.
thank you,
No
Jeff.
problem.
Thank you, Jeff.
Gets me out of the house.
So the meeting minutes should, it looks like the agenda says this, I believe we're talking about the 13th.
Should be the 13th.
Okay, so motion to approve public meeting minutes of April 13th, 2020.
So moved.
So moved.
All right,
Or
Anna, okay, Ken moved it, Anna seconded. All right, Sabrina, yes, Jeff,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
excellent. All right, and now we have approval of the non-public meeting minutes of April 13th, 2020, session 1.
Okay,
So
I'll
moved.
I'll move we
They're
approve the
unsealed.
non-public meeting minutes of April 13, 2020, session 1, and note that they're not sealed.
Mhm.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Sabrina, yes, Jeff,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
All right, and approval of the non-public meeting minutes of April 13th, 2020, session 2.
Similarly, so moved, and again, note that they're not sealed.
Second.
Sabrina, yes, Jeff,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, thank you. We're moving on to COVID-19 response update.
Sure, I'll give you what I have. We did receive $10,804.10 in stimulus funds. This is related to, because we're a Medicare provider. So that was received last week, at the very end of last week. We went through and updated the website. Hopefully it's easier to find all the COVID-19 information all in one place, and got all those links set up. So there's a lot of information out there. Hopefully this makes it easier for people. I filled out a New Hampshire Municipal Association survey that was looking for our anticipated costs related to the pandemic, as well as our anticipated loss in revenue. We did the best we could to put that together. And then NHMA presented this to the Governor's Council that is working, not the Governor's Council, but the Governor's Committee that's working to,
Gopher.
the Gopher, thank you, to distribute those funds. So they presented on Friday based on that survey data. It was midweek, I think it was Wednesday. There was a call with Senator Shaheen, and one of the things I took away is a lot of the funds coming to municipalities are going to municipalities that have at least a population of 500,000, which leaves everybody in New Hampshire out. So they're working to try to get funds for smaller municipalities out of that. There are still the daily calls. The legal calls, which have been taking place on Tuesday and Thursday, will now just be on Tuesday. There have been less questions, and those calls have gotten significantly shorter than they were. There are a lot less questions. We're expecting that there will be training this week on getting FEMA funds for the pandemic whenever there is a disaster declared. There's a certain process to submit and get the FEMA funds related to the expenses and all that, and they're telling us that will be this week. In general, at our staff meeting today, everybody seems to be doing pretty well. We got the email, there was an email saying people were congregating at the transfer center. The signs are in, and I thought they were up, but I will check on that because it sounds like they were not up earlier today. But they are in. We have a A-frame sign that is a good size as people come in, and then we have individual signs to go throughout. The planning board and zoning board are relatively busy. Last year at this time, they had nothing going on, and this year people are applying. The planning board did have a meeting on last Tuesday, which Karen said went very well via Zoom. Inspections are not happening, but they're following the governor's order with photos being sent in and all of that. That was part of Emergency Order 23. All three people in the town clerk and tax collector's office are working alternating times, but they are there. There were 8 new families in the past week who went to the food pantry, and there are several more applications that are out, so the expectation is that will go up. One of the discussions today on the municipal managers listserv was summer programs, and unanimously everybody's in a wait and see mode. No decisions have been made to cancel, but on the other hand, we just don't know. We seem to be receiving the supplies we need when we need them, and town meeting, we're waiting for further guidance. I'm thinking there should be more information this week from the governor as to how long this will be extended and where to go from there. And then there was the email concerning funds for the election. I got some information. I think Jean's actually listening. So if you want to discuss that further, I think she could probably may be able to give some more information. But from what I read, $3.2 million was coming to New Hampshire for elections. So, but I don't know if anyone found any other information out there. And that's this week's update.
If I can just jump in, starting with the last item, I've had some more communications with Jean, and apparently the $3.25 million that came to the state for election assistance requires a match from the state of $600,000 or something like that. And I couldn't find anything indicating that the state had agreed to provide the match to take the money. So to me, it's just a question mark where it stands now. And if there's a way, maybe through the municipal association, we could advocate that the state provide the match if they have to, so that the money can be distributed to the towns and cities.
I'm certainly happy to try to find out more and talk to the municipal association and other towns to see if we can advocate for that.
That might have been one of the topics at one of the recent Gopher meetings. I know that NHMA gave a presentation, I think on Thursday or Friday, and that might have been one of the things they touched on. So if that may be another way to kind of tee this up for the governor, is to kind of feed it to NHMA and have them raise it at one of the next Gopher meetings.
Yeah, I don't have an idea on what the correct approach is, or if you just go with any way you can to seek it, because we know we're going to be incurring more costs, and I'm sure that's the case across the state.
Yeah.
And well before September, if there are going to be substantially more absentee ballots, that really is going to have to be looked at closely and figured out how to deal with it all the way through. So,
Okay. Moving on, I had some questions. Neil, you indicated that you had filled out the survey from the Municipal Association on estimated additional costs and lost revenues. What were the ballpark numbers you came up with for us?
I should have brought that with me.
You should have known I was going to ask you.
I should have known that. I could send that out to you. It was, I'm thinking it was, revenue was a couple 100,000. And I can't remember what expenses were, but largely it's really hard to anticipate because there were also questions like how much won't be paid in taxes. And a lot of that we really don't know at this point.
Mhm. Okay, I guess.
And it really was just a survey for the Municipal Association to put together their presentation for the Gopher meeting.
And you mentioned under points of pride about Marilyn and the additional load, let's say, that's coming to her office. At this point, does she have any feel for whether she has enough funds to meet that need?
I don't think we know. I think between everything we have probably, and even if we had to go into the trust fund, which we have, there's possibilities, but there's also donations coming in. So that certainly helps a lot too.
Yeah, I would think that this town being so generous that if the need, it looked like there was going to be a need, we could just put out a request for donations and it would cover it. But rather do that before as opposed to after the fact.
Well, and the town has a responsibility to meet the requirements of the welfare guidelines. So
Sure.
out of there.
Neil, have you heard anything about like the playground or the skate park or any other town places still having issues with?
That has quieted down. The one complaint we had was about a dog getting on people's property while people were hiking. So that was today.
Got it.
Robin got that email. But no, it seems, and I'm not saying there haven't been people at the skate park, but I haven't happened to have had any complaints this week on that.
Okay, good. So one person in town asked me about the tennis courts because I guess they're locked up, and they were commenting that they heard from some infectious disease doc at Dartmouth Hitchcock that if you're playing tennis with a family member or like someone who you live with, it's very low risk. So I said I would raise it. I'm not sure there's a way for us to unlock those, but lock up other town stuff. But just wanted to see if anyone else has thoughts on that. This person was hoping to play with a family member.
Well, that raises the bigger issue of reopening everything. And what do we want to do about that?
I mean, I would say normally we would track what the state's doing, since that's sort of what we've done. And until the state starts opening things back up, I would be hesitant to start doing that in town.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard. The irony is that the playground, the skate park, people are much more likely to come into contact with each other, whereas on the tennis court, they're quite far apart, but that is a facility that can be under lock and key. So that
Right.
does raise a little bit of a conundrum.
I guess I agree that we should wait and probably end up tracking what the state does. As for the tennis courts, I mean, I guess we could open those up, but I'd want some signage up reminding people that just because the tennis courts are open doesn't mean that you should be within 6 feet or, you know, having a big tournament there with friends and family. but I hate to prevent people from being able to get out and give themselves some kind of a mental health, little bit of exercise in the warm weather if there's really no risk of transmitting by doing that activity.
Do
mean-
we know
Kind of a
if
mistake
any,
to pick and choose what facilities are going to be open.
I agree. I mean, you are picking and choosing, but I mean, it sounds like we have a credible basis to make that distinction between other stuff. And, you know, I hate to keep stuff closed when there is no kind of danger.
Well,
Ken,
and-
were you going to say something?
Just wondering about like the softball fields. We have signs on the softball field saying don't use the field. I mean, we have it at the skate park because that was somewhere where teens were congregating, but like we haven't officially shut down everything. I mean, people can go to the wide open field and kick a soccer ball around, but just because of the infrastructure that's at the tennis court, it's locked and off, you know. But so it feels a little bit arbitrary, but on the other hand, it's because of the infrastructure that's there.
does anybody know if the White's Park in Concord, if their tennis courts are locked? Because if they are and ours are open, will word get out, well, you can play in Hopkinton and we may attract a crowd that way?
That's
I don't know.
thinking.
Well, maybe we should, yeah, that's a good point, Ken. I'm gonna see, I know Amherst has popular town courts too. See if
What
theirs
if
are
what if
open.
we like just table this for a week and see what
Yeah,
happens?
It's a lousy weather forecast for the next weekend.
That's true. Rain tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, I agree with Steven. I think that there's like, you know, the nature of, if you're actually playing tennis, the nature of the game requires distance, although you are potentially sharing space and tennis balls. But I think we can probably make a distinction between that and the skate park. But on the other hand, we can actually like lock it up, as Anna said. So maybe we can look into the Concord question and revisit this.
It's fine by me.
All right. Any other COVID related issues?
Well, other than, so town meeting, Neil, you just mentioned briefly that we're sort of just waiting for more guidance from the state on that.
What we've heard is the governor would sort of give more information 2 weeks in advance of the May 4th date that exists now. And we're basically at that. So what we've been told is that there will be some more information this week. So
It'll be interesting to see also how Bo's school annual meeting goes, which I think they're starting their process tomorrow and then voting on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to watch that. And
And Neil, where you've said you thought that the Bow process didn't fit the guidelines, that it might be an illegal meeting. Is there a difference between a school board meeting and a town meeting in that sense?
no, a school district meeting and a town meeting would be the same. So, and I don't want to say the meeting might be, I don't want to be misquoted saying that
Oh, okay, fair.
my understanding of what the Attorney General's office has said in the calls is that that was not a way to go at this point. So I don't know if Stephen's heard any more. You must talk to.
I mean, my understanding is that when Bo worked all this out, they were in regular communication with the AG's office. And so I don't know firsthand, but my kind of second and third hand understanding is that they the blessing of the AG's office.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Okay. And I apologize if I'm misquoted you or.
All right. Ready to move on from COVID-19?
Mhm.
So no appointments. Old business, update on committee appointments.
I'll just update that it's posted and we're starting to receive several inquiries and some applications. So next week you'll have some more applications to review for open positions.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Neil. Anything under new business?
Old business first?
Oh, sorry, we were just on old business. Do you have other old business, Ken?
Oh, I see where. No, I do not. That was my
Okay.
my mistake.
Okay, so anyone have any new business?
Just the normal questions to Neil. Have you heard anything on Granite Apollo?
We have not.
Okay. Anything on the community gardens?
No, I haven't heard back, but I'll check again.
Okay, and I'm sure you haven't had a chance to look into refinancing.
No, we haven't looked at that.
And even though we're not addressing it now, because you spoke to Paula, what's the understanding about the camp counselors and paying them if there wasn't a camp?
We're not committed to pay summer staff if we aren't open.
Okay. In that case, with the next meeting, do you want to bring those applications forward again?
Yeah, or we can wait until there's more, but because there's several more coming in, so we will bring them back in plenty of time.
Okay. Thank you.
And Neil, I got a question today from someone about the rescue squad and just wanted to make sure that we're still reviewing those materials and getting the insurance looked over by Primex. That's the response that I had to that person. So
Jeff is intending to be, Chief Yale is intending to be at your next meeting.
Great.
Next week, so.
Perfect. Thank you.
Neil, any other administrator updates for us?
Sure. At the recommendation of Kevin Davis, who's our treasurer, we've been looking at purchase cards to replace our current credit cards, which actually give cash back. So we're working on that. The work is moving forward at the high school. It's been a good time to get some of the drainage work done. So that is moving forward. The purchase of the Cameron lot closed today. Just before this meeting started, I got an emailed copy of the deed, which has been recorded. So that has taken place. And Ken already mentioned the cleanup, which is taking place on Wednesday. You can pick up bags and gloves at the town hall or at the bandstand and go out and then post your pictures. And it's a great thing. And thank you to Becky Whitley and Bonnie Christie who are doing it. Mostly Becky, I think, is spearheading this. So that is great.
All right, thank you, Neil. It looks like we still have our one member of the public with us. So we can open it up for public forum.
Hi, I'm Jean Lightfoot, 186 Deer Path, Kentucky, and I'm the chair of the supervisors of the checklist. I want to thank all of you, first of all, for all you're doing. This is a terrible time for all of us, I think. And also thank you for listening and considering the issue I've raised about this money, that I fear if we're not willing to pony up the 600 or the Secretary of State, I think it's, from what I can understand, it would come from the Secretary of State's budget. And so as you go through the municipal association, maybe include the Secretary of State in the contacts, because 600,000 isn't that much. And we would easily spend, the towns and cities, I think, around the state would easily spend more than that 600,000 to do what we have to do for the elections coming up. And so I appreciate your taking this seriously, and hopefully we can encourage them to, get that 600,000, because they're going to spend it anyway, or the towns and cities will spend it, and try to get the 3.2 million that we should be able to get out of this latest, the CARES package. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jean.
Thanks, Gene.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you.
All right. Doesn't look like we have any other members of the public, so we'll close down the public forum. Anything under other?
I guess I wanted to ask Neil about, in your discussions with other town administrators that don't have a budget yet for this fiscal year, are they thinking of going forward with the budget they had, their select boards had approved prior to this all happening, or are they starting to look at reducing it because of the financial stress on many of our citizens?
I don't have a sense of that. I think the discussions have been really around process so far.
Okay. I guess depending on how things roll out, at some point I'll probably be, making a stronger appeal that to seriously look at reducing the amount we're requesting from our citizens. But I don't think this is the time to do it.
All right, thanks, Ken. Anything else for other? Okay. So we have one non-public session. So we will do that and then adjourn. We have no other business for tonight. So does someone want to make a motion to go into non-public? I lost the little, I think it was little A was the
It was.
thing. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All right. So Sabrina, yes. Jeff,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Steven,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes, and did I just pop up on video?
We
did.
can see her.
Yeah.
Way to go.
I found another button to press.
Just in time.
Oh, God.
All right. Bye.
Hi, Robin.
Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Later.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Don't want to have lasagna.